The rise and fall of superpowers. Is the US next? We'll cover the forces that have shaped and shattered civilizations throughout history. Every empire that once ruled the world believed it would last forever. The Roman Empire, the Mongols, the British Empire, each controlled vast territories, commanded immense armies, and left lasting legacies. Yet despite their power, they all fell. But why? What causes the most dominant civilizations in history to collapse often at the height of their power? Empires rise through conquest, economic strength, and cultural dominance. They fall due to internal corruption, economic failure, war, and even environmental change. The cycle of rise and collapse has repeated itself for millennia, shaping the modern world. By studying history's greatest empires, we can uncover the patterns that led to their downfall, and then ask ourselves, could today's superpowers suffer the same fate? We'll explore the 6 key stages of an empire, its rise and expansion peak, struggles, decline and fall. We'll sift through the stories of history's greatest civilizations. Some empires crumbled due to external invasion, while others collapsed from within. And there'll be a shocking revelation at the end that might change how you see the future of global power. How does an empire begin? Every great empire starts with ambition, strong leadership, and the ability to conquer. Whether through military might, political strategy, or economic power, rising empires carve out their place in history by expanding their borders and consolidating control. Take the Roman Republic. It started as a small city-state and grew into an empire spanning 3 continents. It expanded through relentless military campaigns. Julius Caesar's conquests in Gaul and Augustus's rise to absolute power set the foundation for centuries of dominance. Meanwhile, Genghis Khan transformed nomadic Mongol tribes into a global force, building the largest contiguous land empire in history through sheer military brilliance. However, expansion isn't just about brute force. The British Empire, for example, relied on naval supremacy, trade, and strategic alliances to control vast territories across Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Similarly, the Ottomans used diplomacy, alongside military strength, to build an empire that lasted over 600 years. Empires thrive in their early stages because they are innovative, adaptable, and led by visionary rulers. Their military strategies, economic systems, and governing structures are designed to absorb new territories efficiently. But as history shows, rapid expansion often plants the seeds of future instability. What makes an empire truly great? At its peak, an empire dominates trade, culture, and warfare, enjoying immense wealth and stability. This golden age is a time of architectural marvels, economic prosperity, and scientific advancements. The Roman Empire at its height constructed roads, aqueducts, and massive amphitheaters that still stand today. The Mongols established the Pax Mongolica, securing trade routes across Asia and Europe. The Islamic Golden Age under the Abbasid Caliphate saw groundbreaking discoveries in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. A strong economy is crucial to sustaining an empire's peak. The British Empire controlled over 25% of the world's land and population by the 19th century, using its colonies for resources and global trade. The Ottoman Empire thrived by controlling the crossroads of Europe and Asia, ensuring economic dominance for centuries. Yet, even at their most powerful, empires often become overconfident. Wealth and success lead to complacency, corruption, and excessive spending on military campaigns. The very systems that propelled them to greatness can become their Achilles heel. What happens when an empire becomes too big to manage? As empires grow, their vast bureaucracies often become inefficient, plagued by corruption and infighting. Leaders prioritize personal wealth over governance, weakening the very foundation of their civilization. The Roman Empire saw economic troubles and political instability long before its final collapse. Inflation, heavy taxation, and reliance on mercenary armies led to deep divisions. The British Empire faced resistance in its colonies, with local populations demanding self-rule as the empire overextended itself. Mongol rulers struggled to govern their vast territories after Genghis Khan's death, leading to fragmentation and power struggles. Similarly, the Ottoman Empire fell into decline as internal corruption and power struggles weakened its once mighty rule. At this stage, social unrest grows. The people of an empire, once loyal, begin to lose faith in their rulers. Civil wars, peasant revolts, and weakened leadership become warning signs of impending decline. What finally brings an empire down? Many civilizations collapse not from within, but due to external enemies exploiting their weaknesses. The Western Roman Empire crumbled under relentless attacks from barbarian tribes like the Visigoths. The Mongols, once the most feared force on earth, saw their power disintegrate as rival factions and external enemies overran their territories. The British Empire, weakened by 2 world wars, faced independence movements that dissolved its global dominance. Some invasions come swiftly, while others erode power over decades. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 marked the definitive end of the Byzantine Empire, as Ottoman cannons breached the city's legendary walls. Similarly, the Persian Empire fell to Alexander the Great in a series of devastating campaigns. What if an empire isn't conquered by an enemy, but instead crumbles from within? Throughout history, economic decline has been one of the most silent yet devastating forces behind the fall of great civilizations. Even the strongest military or government cannot survive when financial stability is lost. The Roman Empire suffered severe inflation as its economy became unsustainable. Corrupt leaders debased the currency by mixing silver coins with cheaper metals, causing rapid devaluation. Trade routes became less secure, tax burdens increased, and economic disparity led to widespread unrest. The result? A once prosperous empire plunged into crisis. Similarly, the Ottoman Empire, once known as the sick man of Europe, struggled with declining revenues as global trade routes shifted away from the Silk Road. Over-reliance on foreign loans and inefficient taxation left the empire vulnerable to financial collapse, hastening its decline in the 19th century. The Great Depression of the 1930s showed how even industrial powerhouses can suffer economic ruin. The British Empire, still one of the world's dominant forces, faced financial strain due to war debts and the decline of colonial economies. By the mid-20th century, the empire could no longer afford to maintain its global dominance, leading to a wave of decolonization. Without a stable economy, an empire cannot sustain its armies, infrastructure, or governance. As history has shown, economic mismanagement is often the true killer of empires, even when no external enemy is in sight. Could modern nations be heading toward a similar fate? What happens when an empire no longer believes in itself? Beyond military defeats and economic troubles, civilizations often decline due to cultural and social fragmentation. When an empire loses its unifying identity, it becomes vulnerable to collapse. Rome, once the center of a vast multicultural empire, suffered as its once proud citizenry grew disillusioned. By the time of its collapse, many Romans no longer identified with their empire but instead with regional leaders or foreign invaders offering them better security and opportunities. The same was true for the Western Roman Empire, when Germanic tribes, once considered outsiders, became powerful enough to reshape Rome from within. The British Empire's decline was also fueled by shifting cultural identity. As nationalist movements grew in India, Africa, and the Caribbean, the idea of British superiority weakened. Colonized people demanded independence, leading to the dismantling of an empire that had ruled over a quarter of the world. Even the Mongol Empire, once united under Genghis Khan, fragmented as different regions adopted local customs rather than Mongol traditions. What was once a fearsome unified force became a collection of competing factions, eroding the empire's strength. Without a strong cultural or ideological foundation, an empire begins to dissolve. A loss of faith in leadership, growing regionalism, and social unrest signal the beginning of the end. Could today's global superpowers experience a similar identity crisis? No empire has lasted forever. The rise and fall of civilizations is a cycle seen throughout history, repeated time and again. But what does this tell us about the future? Many historians believe that modern superpowers, whether economic giants or military leaders, are not immune to the same forces that toppled Rome, Britain, or the Ottomans. Political corruption, economic instability, social unrest, and overextension continue to threaten even the most dominant nations today. The United States, often compared to the Roman Empire, faces internal divisions, economic struggles, and challenges to its global influence. China, rapidly rising as a global superpower, must navigate economic pressures, demographic changes, and regional tensions. The European Union, once a model of unity, faces increasing nationalist movements and economic fragmentation. History doesn't just repeat itself, it provides warning signs. Understanding how empires fell allows us to recognize potential threats to modern nations. The question remains, will today's world powers learn from the past, or are they destined to follow the same cycle of rise and decline? The rise and fall of empires reveal an undeniable truth. No civilization, no matter how powerful, is immune to collapse. History shows that even the mightiest nations can crumble under the weight of their own success. Whether through military defeat, economic failure, political corruption, or cultural decline, every empire eventually reaches a breaking point. But these collapses are not sudden. They follow predictable patterns that repeat across time. One of the most striking lessons from history is that empires often fall at their peak, not their lowest point. Rome was still a dominant force when it started its decline. The British Empire controlled vast territories even as it unraveled. And the Mongols had reached the height of their power before splintering into factions. The warning signs, internal corruption, overextension, economic instability were always present long before the final collapse. Today, modern superpowers face many of the same challenges that brought down past civilizations. Economic inequality, political instability, resource depletion, and rising global tensions all mirror the struggles of fallen empires. If history is our guide, these factors could determine whether today's great nations endure or follow the same path as Rome, Britain, and the Ottomans. The question remains, are we witnessing the beginning of another cycle of collapse? But history is not just about endings. It is also about rebirth. While great empires have fallen, new civilizations have always emerged from their remnants. The ruins of the past serve as lessons for the future, offering a roadmap for how to avoid the mistakes that led to previous collapses. Understanding the forces behind an empire's downfall allows societies to adapt, evolve, and potentially break the cycle. If we are standing on the edge of another great historical shift, the outcome is not yet written. The real challenge is whether we will recognize the warning signs in time, or if we are doomed to repeat the past. The fate of modern nations may depend not on their power, but on their ability to learn from history's greatest mistakes. Do you think today's world powers are repeating the mistakes of history? Will modern nations rise above the cycle? Or are we already witnessing the next great collapse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any new videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.